Have you ever felt no matter how much you try to read about anything or try to remember, you still think you don't know enough about the subject? If so, the next few minutes of this video can help. I'm Anshul, an IIT Delhi and IIM Bangalore graduate with almost 10 years of experience. Today, we are diving into a powerful technique to trick your brain into thinking that it knows everything. Yes, everything. And it's simpler than you think. By the end of the video, you'll not only understand this technique, but walk away with actionable tips that can change how you think and learn forever. Let's jump right in. Part 1, the problem. Why do we feel like we don't know enough? Imagine you're cramming for an exam or preparing for an interview, and there is a nagging voice in your head which is calling you out and telling you that you're not ready. Don't worry, you're not alone. This happens to the best of us. Studies show that 70% of the people feel underprepared even when they have studied hard. But why does this happen? Here's the deal. It's called the negativity bias, a survival mechanism that makes us feel incomplete so that we keep learning. Think about it. When you focus on what you don't know, your brain's instinct is to push you to keep seeking answers. But this can make you feel stuck and anxious. Instead, imagine if you could train your brain into believing that it already knows enough to succeed. By shifting your focus, you can trick your mind into thinking you're more prepared than you actually feel. This can boost your confidence and performance dramatically. Part 2, the solution, Feynman technique. The hack we are talking about today is called the Feynman technique, named after the Nobel Prize winning physicist Richard Feynman. Feynman was just brilliant. He had an uncanny ability to express complex ideas in a way a child could easily understand. His secret? Simplification. Here is how it works. First, pick a concept you want to learn. Next, pretend you are teaching it to a 5th grader. Then identify gaps in your explanation and revisit your sources. After that, refine and simplify your understanding. Finally, teach again and see the change. By teaching, you're not just reviewing, you're actually tricking your brain into believing that it knows the material inside out. Why? Because the act of simplifying reinforces understanding and boosts confidence. Alternatively, my strategy is that I pretend myself to be giving a 10-minute TED talk for any subject that I wish to learn. Whenever I do that, I realize how much I don't know about the subject. It works like a charm every time. Part 3, why it works? What's the science behind the trick? To understand how it really works, let's dive into the scientific concepts of learning and how brain really functions. Number 1, retrieval practice. Retrieval practice was initially experimented in 1909 by Edwina E. Abbott. It states that when you teach or explain, you're pulling information from your memory. This strengthens the neural connections and makes recall easier and faster. Number 2, elaboration. Simplification forces your brain to connect new ideas into the existing knowledge. It is like adding more anchors to the ship. It's not really going anywhere. Number 3, self-confidence. The more you practice explaining, the more your brain gets convinced that you are an expert. This confidence trickles into how you think, speak, or perform in any high-pressured situation. In the words of Albert Einstein, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Part 4, practical application. How can you use it today? Let's experiment and try this technique out with an example. Step 1, pick a concept. Let's say we want to learn the Newton's laws of motion. Let's start with the first law, the law of inertia. Step 2, explain the concept to a 5th grader. Instead of calling it the law of inertia, let's just say an object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an external force. Easy, right? Maybe not. Step 3, spot the gaps. If you look closely, some of the words that we easily understood might not be that easy for a 5th grader. It could be that the student does not fully understand what external force means. So let's go back, review, and refine our explanation until it's crystal clear. This time we will put it in a simpler way and add an example. Things don't move or stop on their own. They stay as they are until something makes them move or stop. Example: a book stays on the table unless you push it, and a rolling ball keeps moving until something like ground or a wall stops it. Step 5, teach it again. Finally, after refining and simplifying the language, try to teach it again to the 5th grader and you will see the difference. Try this with a friend or any of the kids outside. And if you try, do mention that in the comment section below or give a thumbs up. Part 5, bonus tricks to enhance the Feynman technique. There are ways to further enhance the effectivity of this technique. Let me share a few. Number 1, use visuals. Sketch diagrams or flowcharts. Our brain processes images 60,000 times faster than the text. Number 2. Record yourself. Listening to your own explanation helps you catch flaws that you might miss otherwise. Number 3. Do an intermittent repetition. Revisit the material every few days to lock into your long-term memory. Number 4. Group study. Teach your friends. Not only does it help you learn better, but it also reveals some of the gaps that cannot come otherwise. Number 5. Practice in different settings. Explain the concept in different environments, whether taking a walk or in front of a mirror. Changing the context or environment helps you recall and adapt your knowledge in different situations, reinforcing your confidence. Number 6. Role play as a learner and teacher. Switch between roles. Sometimes act as a student asking questions and other times as a teacher giving answers. This dual perspective strengthens the understanding and reveals any gaps in your knowledge. Number 7. Test yourself with questions. Create a list of questions about the concept and ask them to yourself as if somebody else is asking you. Self-quizzing is one of the most effective ways to retain information and prepare for real-world applications. Part 6. Real-life success stories. Did you know that Bill Gates uses a similar approach to the Feynman technique? He believes in deeply understanding the topics and trying to explain it to himself or others to test his clarity. In fact, Gates once shared an anecdote where he learned about software debugging by first simplifying how code error occurs and then teaching the concept to his team. This habit of breaking down and re-explaining helped him make the concept widely understood and actionable, a reason for Microsoft's great success. Similarly, Richard Feynman himself used this method to simplify quantum physics, making it accessible even to non-scientists. This technique has been a cornerstone for many successful individuals who mastered the art of breaking down complex ideas into simple, actionable knowledge. As Feynman puts, study hard what interests you the most in the most undisciplined, irrelevant, and original manner possible. This technique isn't just for science geeks, it's for anyone who wants to think like a genius. Part 7. Key takeaways. Your cheat sheet to brain mastery. Quickly recapping what we've learned today. The brain often underestimates what it knows. Use the Feynman technique to flip the script. Simplify concepts and teach them to a 5th grader to spot gaps and reinforce learning. Use retrieval practice, elaboration, and visualization to make your learning stick. Record yourself, use diagrams, and teach others to solidify your mastery. Remember, learning isn't about memorizing facts, it's about understanding deeply and communicating clearly. And with this technique, you can trick your brain into thinking it knows it all. Alright folks, that's it for today. I hope you found this video helpful. If yes, hit the like and subscribe button for more videos on brain hacks and life skills. Comment below and let me know what kind of topics will you try the Feynman technique on. I'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep shining.